When day turns to night, and the moon is most bright, shed the king of you and wear the queen. The 9 realms will open and your magic be free. Hi everyone, it's your favorite drag witch, Nova Jupiter Jenkins. Or at least I'll be your favorite once you get to know me. My friends call me Nova JJ, and you can too. For those just joining us, here's the sitch. My alter ego from the mundane realm, Adam, discovered thanks to the goddess Freya that if he dressed in drag to practice witchcraft, he could tap into his feminine power, and when he did, he was transported here to the magical land of the Heath and transformed into me. Occasionally Adam's 2 cats join in and are transformed into half-raven, half-feline familiars, Hugo and Munzie. I work in a near-infinite magical library called Kalamudutu as a book hunter. I also person the information desk from time to time where I record this podcast using a spell that sends it through to Adam's computer when he returns to the mundane realm. A lot of people have been asking more about the Heath and what it's like here outside the library. I refer to it as the Wilds, but it's not like it's complete chaos. Just enough to make things interesting. And just because I call it the Heath, that's not to imply that it's just a large swath of land. As I mentioned in the first episode, some people refer to it as the ethereal realm. And as you can imagine, its size is hard to quantify, along with its exact nature. I'll provide more details as we go along, and possibly even maps if I can figure out how to transmit images through the spell that leaves the recording on Adam's computer. Welcome to the Thunder Moon episode. It's good to be back here on the full moon again. As I implied last episode, I love the darkness, and one of the reasons for that is because it helps me to appreciate the light. The Thunder Moon gets its name from the magnificent summer thunderstorms that grace us this time of year, in North America where Adam lives, as well as here in the Heath. The thunderstorms here are connected to the mundane realm, but are a little more intense. Some of the gods of thunder, like Thor, Raijin, and Indra, like to chill here in the summertime, and when they let off steam, let's just say if you haven't seen a berserker and a lightning wolf grinding it up at a rave in the clouds, I don't know what you're doing with your life. In addition to podcasting, one of the other many hobbies that I've acquired while personing the information desk is yarncraft, more specifically knit and crochet. Most of the things that I make are for spell work, like bags for runes or tarot cards, shawls of protection, the occasional invisibility poncho, and prayer cords. From time to time I may talk about projects I'm working on and techniques that I found useful for any other magical yarn crafters out there. I'm not sure if I can transport physical objects back to the mundane realm, but I'll see if I can maybe send a few things through for Adam to put out into the world. Currently I'm working on some socks of weightlessness. The yarn is spun from moonbeams that were trapped at the bottom of a wishing well. They're a gorgeous silver and mossy green. Time to time, you may hear the familiars meowing or noises of people running for their lives or screams or the odd little roar from one of our denizens in the library here. Pay it no mind. Okay, it's story time. The story this moon comes from a collection of lesser-known myths called When Religions Collide. Now, fair warning, some may consider this story to be a little blasphemous, but I prefer the term blasphemalicious. If you believe in God, gods, goddesses, or any other kind of deity, and that they created mankind and don't have a sense of humor, this is not the podcast for you. Okay, this story is called One Virgin, Two Gods, An Immaculate Misconception. Once upon a time, there was a beautiful virgin by the name of Sandrine. And by beautiful, I mean she was beautiful on the inside. She may have also been beautiful on the outside, but that's not relevant. Her inner beauty shone so brightly that men flocked from far and wide to respect her and listen to her opinions on politics and economic reform. They also wanted to have sex with her really badly. But she wasn't having it. She was a virgin because she thought of her body as a temple and the right supplicant hadn't come along yet. Also, she wasn't really sure where she stood when it came to sex. She didn't seem to have the same fire burning inside of her that she noticed in her friends when they came of age. The only reason she thought she might want to bother with sex was because she wanted to be a mother. That fire burned strong inside of her. She thought about adopting, but it was ancient mythological times and no one had really set up an adoption system at this point. One day, Sandrine was praying at an actual temple for the god. He'd like to remain anonymous, so we'll just call him Juice. Sandrine went to the temple super early in the morning so that all the men who wanted to respect her really hard wouldn't be around. After praying in silence for some time, she rose and turned to leave, and found herself face to face with a beautiful man. Beautiful on the outside. He may have been beautiful on the inside, but that's up for debate. "Hey, girl," he said in a slightly creepy but kind of sexy tone. "Your inner beauty was so bright I had to come down from Mount Trolympus to see you." "Oh, great God, Juice, I'm humbled and honored by your presence. Thank you for hearing my prayers." "You're welcome. Though I was a little distracted by your inner beauty, so I didn't quite catch what you were praying about." "Oh, well, I was hoping you could do something about the terrible way that so many men are treating women." That's not really my jam. I'm a laissez-faire kind of god, unless it affects me personally. But Shazam, I'd love to imbue you with my divine seed. "Oh, I'm not really sure that I'm interested in having sex. It's something I'm just taking some time to figure out." "Hey, not to worry. I'm not really into having regular human sex, STDs and all that. But I could, turn into a golden shower. I'm not really into that. How about a golden sunbeam?" "What level of radiation are we talking?" "Do you have some sunblock with you? I don't normally carry protection. Just feels better natural, Sandrine thought about it for a minute. She could have a child without the bother of sex, and if she gave birth to a demi-deity, it might give her the influence to help make the world a safer, more equal place. She reached into her bag and pulled out the ancient mythological version of sunblock. Afterward, she left the temple and made her way to the temples of the goddesses she liked to pray to. And because she didn't like to put all her eggs in one basket, or maybe because she had all her eggs in one basket, she went to the temple of another god. We'll call him Blahova. As she prayed silently, she felt a heat behind her. She turned and saw a burning bush and a couple of stone tablets. Words appeared on the tablet. "Thou shalt be the mother of my child." She picked up kind of an angry and slightly abusive vibe from the bush, but she'd heard his other son turned out okay, so she shrugged and started to pull out the sunblock when words appeared on this other tablet. "My will is done." "Oh, that's it?" she asked. More words appeared. "I was nervous. Thou shalt not speak of this." "Praise be," she said, and walked out. A few months later, when it became clear that she was pregnant, she told people the truth of what happened, but because her father wasn't around to give credence to her words, everyone assumed that she was a lying sinner and she was cast out. She made her way to the Amazons, the tribe of warrior women who had had enough of the patriarchy's bullshit. The gods who had impregnated her were nowhere to be seen. When it came time for the birth, 3 allegedly wise men showed up. They were stopped at the edge of Amazonian territory and asked their business. They said, "We've come with gifts for the baby." "Which one?" the women asked. The men exchanged confused glances and turned and galloped off, a little less wise. Sandrine cradled her twin babies in her arms, bathing in the painful but fulfilling afterglow of the moment when she brought her precious miracles into the world. The goddess, we'll call her Para, appeared in a jealous rage and said, "I'm here to curse the son of Juice." "I'm not really sure which one belongs to Juice. Can you come back when they're older and it's slightly less creepy that you want to punish an innocent child for the infidelity of your husband?" Para scowled and vanished. Suddenly a burning light appeared and the fiery bush and tablets were in the room. "I have twins?" appeared on the tablet. "Well, one of them is yours, but I'm not sure which one. I had visited another temple earlier that day." "Thou shalt have no other gods before me." "Well, I'm not really a scripturalist, so I wasn't aware of that. But I thought you were omniscient, so I thought you knew." Juice appeared in the room. "What is the meaning of this?" he thundered. "Don't tell me you're angry about this," Sandrine said. "How many children have you sired with different women? Why don't you go visit your friend Hippocrates?" "I will not stand for this." "You're both gods, all-seeing gods. I thought you knew. I'm a polyamotheist." "Thou shalt see me on Maury Povich. and the bush and tablets disappeared. "You will feel my wrath," Juice promised. "Why don't you stick around and help raise your child?" Juice disappeared in a bolt of lightning so fast Thunder didn't even have a chance to rumble. Sanjin did her best to raise her children without gender bias and taught them to respect their own boundaries and the boundaries of others and to smash the patriarchy and do what they could to make their corner of the world a better place for everyone in it. And they lived happily sometimes and sadly at other times, but mostly happily ever after. I hope you enjoyed Storytime. Let me know what you think by sending me an email to novajj@novajj.net, and we'll see what other stories I can find for next time. For this month's tarot reading... Wait, what's going on? Everything just went dark. What's that sound? Hang on, I'll be right back. Oh, how do you pause a spell? Kitiri furon. Foro luris. And we're back. Sorry about that, folks. It was gone quite a bit longer than intended. I should have remembered, but I've been pretty busy with book hunting, and it totally slipped my mind that there was a lunar eclipse. And this was a long one. Lunar eclipses are when the librarians come out. The librarians tend to be a bit mysterious. If there's a great need, you can sometimes find one after completing a series of quests. But when there's a lunar eclipse, they come out from wherever they spend their time delving into the secrets of the universe. And it's a good idea to make yourself scarce when they're out and about, unless you have a question that's worth risking your existence for. Okay, back to the tarot reading. For this month's reading, we'll be using the Falcon spread. Most tarot spreads lay out what is happening to you in the near future, but this one looks at things more along the lines of the issue and how you're going to happen to it. The first card is the Prey, the issue that you're looking to seek out and hunt down. The card coming up is the Eight of Cups. This card represents emotional depletion as a result of overextending oneself. We all have those points in our lives where we're treading water, where we've become stagnant because we've spent all this energy trying to have everything we think we need to have in our lives in order to be considered successful, but just end up trying to keep our head above water. The first two cards that make up the Falcon are the eyes that are going to allow us to spot the issue among all the trees and underbrush and other distractions of day-to-day life. The card for the right eye is the Knight of Pentacles. This card represents the material qualities of the earth and new experiences. The card for the left eye is the Seven of Wands, the card of vigilance. So, when considered together, with the left eye we see with purpose and intention, not just passively gazing, unable to see the forest for the trees. And then the right eye puts that purpose into perspective. So, when considered together, with the left eye, we see with purpose and intention, not just passively gazing, unable to see the forest for the trees. And the right eye puts that purpose into perspective. Through new experiences or people who bring new experiences into our lives, we can truly see the depth of the rut that we're in. And once we know what we're looking for and how far away it is, we can start to formulate a plan of attack. It's important to keep in mind that the new experiences referred to with the Knight of Pentacles are real-world experiences, not just virtual ones. Get out of the house if you're able. Touch and experience new textures. Visit places you've not been before. Eat new foods. If you're not able to get out of the house, experiment with new ways of moving, safely of course, or exploring everyday textures in a new way. Try making something you never would have thought to try, whether it's food or art or crafts, and don't be afraid to make a mess. So the next part of the Falcon are the wings that carry us toward our prey. The card for the right wing is the Sun, the card of positive energy, joy, the reconciliation of opposites. The card for the left wing is the Three of Wands, which is the card of integrating old and new ideas and fresh opportunities for creative expression. These cards together are indicating that some of the old ways of thinking that contributed to the rut we're in don't need to be abandoned altogether. They can be married to the joy found in new experiences. So as you gain distance and perspective, you'll be able to discern which modes of thought are contributing to your emotional depletion, and which are solid ideas that you want to maintain and combine with the new ideas to help you soar to new heights. And now the talents that are going to allow us to snatch that prey right out of the tall grass that is the day-to-day grind. These cards require us to act according to instinct without too much thought or hesitation. The card for the right talent is the Nine of Pentacles. This card represents physical and mental balance and heightened productivity. The card for the left talent is the Four of Cups, which represents the need to rethink a situation to reinvigorate our well-being. As our wings help us to swoop in on our prey, the physical and mental balance represented by the Nine of Pentacles is going to allow us to strike out at our prey with confidence when that opportunity comes. And the ability to rethink the situation represented by the Four of Cups will help us to adapt if the prey moves in an unexpected direction. The neural pathways that can lead to stagnant thinking can be difficult to restructure, but making the effort will be worth it. And lastly, the beak that we will use to devour our prey. The card coming up here is the Queen of Swords. This card represents intelligence, power, and self-reliance. By utilizing these tools, we can make short work of that rut and overcome the fear that keeps us from getting out of it. And never doubt that you possess these tools. Even in small measure, they may just be inside of you, waiting to fly forth. So attack that rut. Feast on its entrails. Someone asked recently, since the knowledge that allowed Adam to tap into his feminine power and create me came from the Norse goddess Freya, why I don't use Norse runes as my tool of divination for the world. The reason for that is I use the runes from my personal readings. The word rune literally means secret, and for the runes to be the most effective for me as a tool of divination, what they tell me must remain only with me. That doesn't mean I won't talk about them in other contexts, but they won't be used for divination on the podcast. So we don't have any dreams to interpret today, but feel free to keep sending those in and we'll get to them next time. So that's going to be it for this Thunder Moon. Thanks for joining me, everyone. Email me at novajj@novajj.net and visit novajj.net for show notes and other fun stuff. Remember to rate, comment, and follow on Stitcher, iTunes, Google Play, YouTube, or anywhere else you might come across us. Tell a friend or even a stranger. And remember, time might heal all wounds, but not with that knife still stuck in there. Bye.